2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
On their first day in office, with a country in crisis, President Biden and Vice President Harris got to work for us, cutting Black child poverty in half, delivering more money to Black entrepreneurs, and creating millions of new good-paying jobs. They've lowered health insurance premiums and made prescription drugs more affordable. And they capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 per month. Because we all deserve a fair shot to get ahead. And they're making sure our voices are heard by putting South Carolina first in this year's Democratic primary election. Show President Biden and Vice President Harris your support in the Democratic primary election. You can vote early in person from January 22nd to February 2nd, or you can vote on Election Day on Saturday, February 3rd. Early voting is closed on Sunday, January 28th.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for President.
Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? Tony Dunn with the C3 Panthers podcast. We're back for another beat check, man. We're back to the season. Football is here, and it's time to keep our ear to the ground. Follow these latest storylines heading into the Carolina Panthers Week 1 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. We got a great show tonight. Noah Schaefer, the Dawg Check Podcast with Believe Network. A lot of checks. We're checking everything. We're checking all the boxes. The Dawg Check Podcast in the house. Welcome, Noah Schaefer, to the C3 Panthers podcast.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's really cool to do this, and, I'm excited for week 1.
Right on. Cody Lashney, my wheelman in the house, as usual. My co-host, how you doing, Cody?
I'm doing wonderful, man. We're pumped about this season opener. We have a great guest to be able to discuss all things Panthers, Browns. Dude, what a fun showdown, man. The story involved, the players involved, the fans have been going back and forth. Tony, I'm pumped for this. We should have a great C3 BeatCheck tonight. And by the way, you already know that we're joined by some of the best, man. You see Algernon Ramsor in the building. D's is Ill Skills, Ja, Tim Estes, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
We were here last night on the C3 Panthers podcast, really hitting some cool record numbers right now. Everybody's joining the C3 Superfan Club. Man, we hit over 50. I think we hit 52 members of the C3 Superfan Club. So I appreciate all that support. You guys can just hit that join button. It's a way to support the show. But you know the deal. You can support the show by dancing around on that thumbs up button, subscribing, and calling into the show throughout the season at 252-228-5098. That's right, 252-228-5098. Hey, you guys, look, you see those people with the cool green tags? We got some cool emoji. I put some emojis up there. Cody Lashney told me the shame one is too edgy, though, so you better use it right now, folks. Use that shame emoji, or else we're going to have to take it away. Cody said the ball gagged too much.
Y'all told me, man. I felt like we'd have to explain too much shit from certain people who wouldn't understand. But whatever, man. If the people like it, they like it.
Don't forget Sunday after the game. We got the C3 Panthers post-game show. It's going to be a fun one. So let's go ahead and talk about this matchup. Noah, big game. I thought I was saying to Cody when we were hanging out before, is that without Baker Mayfield, this would be a boring game.
100%. The NFL loves their storylines. The media is something that you have to play up. And Baker Mayfield saying or not saying he's going to F him up out there. It's, that's something they kind of ran with, and it doesn't surprise me. I think in the first place, there's going to be a lot of media attention on this game, and that quote just set it off. So it's really going to be fun.
Is that, this is the second year the Panthers have opened the game, and this kind of, let's say, revenge tour, new quarterback against our old team. Last year, we started the season at home against the New York Jets. Sam Darnold facing his former team now. Again, at home, Baker Mayfield against the Cleveland Browns. If this game was in week 7, it wouldn't be that big of a storyline because we would know who these teams kind of were by this point, and we kind of have this narrative out. But you're right. The drama is there. What are, when it comes to Baker Mayfield, how is Cleveland reacting to seeing him in a different jersey, you think?
Look, I think everybody in Cleveland loved Baker Mayfield. His passion for the game, his cockiness, his ability to go out and just, be a really fun football player. Everybody loves him. And I don't like what the Browns did to him. I think they could have given him another year. They could have, let that play out a little bit more. And I understand you have to go chase the best positions available to improve your team. But Baker Mayfield was Cleveland's quarterback. That is the guy that we needed. And, I really don't think there's a lot of Cleveland fans out there that hate him. They want him to succeed. And actually, Browns Twitter is something that gets divided a lot. But they are really split right here. And there are Browns fans saying, I want Baker Mayfield to win this football game. I want Baker Mayfield to win a Super Bowl. I want Baker Mayfield to do good. And I do not care if the Browns lose. It's just at that point. He was loved by this fan base, and it hurts me that he is gone. It really does.
So let's just kind of jump through that real quick. You mentioned the divisiveness between Browns fans. Panther fans are the same. And I'm of the mindset that I need Baker to prove what he's actually going to do here in Carolina before, I start to give him all the accolades and say that he's the next franchise quarterback. Before we jump into Baker fully, though, it seems to me like most Brown fans seem to have the mindset that the Browns D-line versus Panthers offensive line is a bad matchup for Carolina. I don't blame them based on what we were last year, but do you believe that's going to be the reason why the Browns win or lose this game is just because the Browns defensive line is just so much more able to get after Baker Mayfield and just win the trenches?
Not at all. I think Carolina really improved that offensive line this offseason. You go out and get Icky, and you look at this Browns defensive line. There's a huge gap at defensive tackle. And, yeah, you have probably the best edge rusher duo in the game, but it's, it just kind of depends. I really do think Carolina has a solid chance. And the thing that may beat Baker Mayfield is Joe Wood's defense with the secondary. He loves to disguise people. He loves to run these 3 safeties. He loves to get everybody involved. We barely see any DB blitzes, but I really think that's something that could come into play. So I think the creativeness that Joe Woods has with that secondary is going to be the thing that could potentially win the Browns this football game.
To me, when I look at this game and this matchup, is clearly there's the Baker Mayfield story going to Cleveland. There is the Deshaun Watson, the most hated toucher in all of football, who is actually a non-story now because he's going to be out for 10 games and can't practice with the team and things like that. So it's just like he's kind of off to the side. Is it really come down to that? But Cleveland's just the Cleveland fans and people are worried about that. You're just historically slow starters. What are the main storylines on y'all's mind coming into this game?
I think Jacoby Brissett is the biggest thing. People look at his tape from Indianapolis, from the Dolphins. It's really underwhelming, but I really think that he is a good quarterback. He's somebody that's calm. He can get himself out of the pocket and really improvise there. So I think they're kind of I don't know, too worried about Jacoby Brissett. And we haven't really seen these wide receivers out on the field at the same time. We haven't seen Amari Cooper in the preseason. We didn't see any of our Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the preseason. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of worry there. Jedrick Wills is still a huge question mark. We don't know how he's going to perform. He's been really off and on. So I think the offense is just the point of worry, and rightfully so. I get it. But Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski do things for a reason. They have had Jacoby Brissett on their mind. I probably think even before they went and made the Watson trade. They plan ahead and they make sure their quarterbacks are comfortable. So with all the talent that we have, I think he's going to be really comfortable, and we're going to have something to look forward to after week 1.
How do you view the offensive attack against Carolina? You guys have a two-headed monster in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but what do you think the splits are going to be like? We just got a new sponsorship, prizepicks.com, and they have entries where you pick more or less, and they had Nick Chubb at like 15 carries. And my question to you is, do you think that's a reasonable number? Like, what do you think the split between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is going to be? And do you think that rushing attack is going to be your primary means of offense when you play the Panthers?
One of the biggest things that Browns fans wanted is to run the ball more last season. And Kevin Stefanski, I don't really know what he was thinking. I think he's a stubborn coach. So, maybe we're not going to run the ball that much. Maybe Chubb can get 12 carries, Hunt can get 8, or Chubb can get 20, Kareem can get, 12. So I don't really know where that's going to go. I think they do want to test out Jacoby Brissett and see what he can do with David Bell, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, Harrison Bryant, all of them, and see what they have going into the season. I mean, we have the Jets after this game, then we have the Falcons. And so there is opportunity to kind of experiment with Jacoby, and week 1, we can just pound the ball. But I think Stefanski is going to see what he has, and we are going to air out all of our options and just, kind of minimize the run game.
How motivated do you – oh, actually, what I would ask you this is I was going to go with motivation this team, but you mentioned when you described Baker and beloved by Cleveland fans, and you put – I think one of the words used cocky at one point is – since he's come to Carolina, and I would admittedly say I had not followed Baker as closely as somebody. First he was in the AFC. We're more in tune with NFC teams, people in our division, things like that. And I just had never really closely followed him. And this narrative that has come about that he is kind of a lightning rod. Someone that is controversial, like you said, even maybe cocky or brash. Since he's come to Carolina, he's done nothing but say all the right things, do all the right things. And even maybe is that narrative slightly overblown? And the fact is he just a confident player and not necessarily willing to back down, or is he controversial?
Well, I think I have noticed in Carolina that he's kind of he's toned it down a little bit. Maybe that may come out a little more during the season. But part of me has thought, maybe his team is telling him to play up yourself as a person and make people think, you're the good guy. Why would the Browns do this to you? Why would they send you to Carolina and get rid of somebody who they viewed as their franchise guy? And also who a lot of people thought was a reach back in 2018, taking.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So maybe they're, just trying to build up his image a little bit. I truly think he is a stand-up guy. he's had his clash with Cleveland media reporters, but who hasn't? They get bashed by the media all the time, rightfully so. So I don't think Baker Mayfield is a controversial person. He has grown a lot since college. And even in college, he was a leader. Everybody said he was a leader, a really good locker room guy. I think he is a perfect locker room guy. And the whole, I don't know. I don't think the attitude issues are an issue. I think he is a really good player.
Why did Cleveland part ways with him?
You're in a win now mode. Next year we have some free agents that we're losing, but the year after that we have a lot of people that we may have to pay. And I think going after Deshaun was, all right, let's see what we can do in these 2 years. They obviously knew the suspension was coming, but you have built a really solid team, and with Jacoby as a placeholder and then Watson coming in for the final couple games, that's something that they're looking forward to. So I really don't know why they tried to get rid of Baker. And I heard in the offseason that Baker thought they put him out there against Green Bay and Pittsburgh to fail, because that offensive line was not picking up their assignments. They were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. The play calling was bad. They didn't run the ball. There was a lot of things that went wrong with that. So I don't know what made them think, all right, time to turn off the experiment. We're done with you. Get him out of here. I don't like it. I personally don't think that Baker Mayfield was a Kevin Stefanski coach. Baker Mayfield was a Kevin Stefanski quarterback. I think you took a gunslinger and you dumbed him down to a Kirk Cousins. I don't like that. So and I don't know, because that sounds outlandish, because you went and go get Deshaun Watson, who is one of the best, dual threat quarterbacks in the league. I don't know what happened with that. I wish it didn't happen. We're here.
Understandable. So just long term, I know we're not talking about Deshaun because he's not really in the matchup here, but you've professed that you have a lot of love and respect for Baker Mayfield. What do you think now of Deshaun Watson? Do you feel that long term you are better off with Deshaun under center than Baker?
I think if we get the Deshaun Watson that we have seen in the past couple years, then yes. But with him having over a year of football not being played,
yeah,
and this negative media attention, and his next game back or first game back is in Houston, that doesn't give me a lot of confidence that he could be good going forward. He could go out there and be a dud for the last 6 games. We don't know. And if he is, I don't know what Cleveland is going to do. But in the moment when we first got him, I think we have a Super Bowl roster. We have a franchise quarterback. Let's run with it. Let's go win a couple of championships. We can put all this media stuff to the side. And I'm pretty sure that's what Andrew Berry and company were thinking.
Is your team that good? I continue to hear that Cleveland's roster is so talented, so talented. They are the most talented team to never win in the history of football, at least. No, is that everybody goes, oh, Baker did it because he was on a talented roster. He did it on the backs of all these running backs. But if I remember correctly, Baker came into a team that had only won 2 games in 2 years, or one game in 2 years, who has been through coach after coach, offensive coordinator. In some ways, I feel like there is a lot of highly drafted players on the Cleveland roster. But does that mean you guys are really that good? Tell me about how good this roster is. Let's start with the offensive line and then shift to the defense.
Yeah, that offensive line has 2 of the better guards in the NFL. Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio are just pure monsters, and you're investing a lot of money in those two guards. So I really think those are the brick of that offensive line. And you move over to left tackle, Jedrick Wills has the potential to be one of the greatest tackles in that class out of Wirfs. And I get it. Wirfs is fantastic, but Jedrick Wills really had that solid tape coming out of college, and that is why they took him 10th overall. he's a question mark with his injury that he had last year, and I really don't know what we can expect from him going forward. And Jack Conklin has been one of the better run-stopping tackles or run defending tackles in the league. I think that offensive line is really solid, and they are definitely the reason why Baker Mayfield had so much success in 2020 and didn't really do him much favors in 2021, but they are one of the better units in the league. And, the running backs are fantastic. The best 1-2 punch in the league. And they complement that offensive line so well. It is unbelievable. Just going to the quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, you have Josh Dobbs, who was amazing in preseason. A lot of people think he should be starting over Jacoby. I don't believe so. Then Deshaun Watson, when he gets back, that's going to be great. Our receiver core that's the question mark. Amari Cooper, that was a steal of a trade, even if the contract is a little heavy. But then you go to Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's shown that he could be a nice deep threat with Baker. But last year, even though Baker was injured, he didn't do well. He tried to take on that number 1 spot. I didn't think it worked out. And that leaves a big question mark coming into this year. You have Anthony Schwartz dropping these passes. That's the biggest story in this camp in preseason. We can't escape that. That was going to be our X factor. He was going to be our Tyreek Hill, and it's not going to happen. It looks like it's not going to happen. So right now that offense has a couple question marks, but I do think that they can be great and they can get us places.
What about on that defensive side of the ball? That's where a lot of that talent, we got Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett. You guys have got some linebackers back there. And then I see some Browns fans, or at least even some of the Browns media, saying that it's the best cornerback duo in the league. Be careful saying that too close to Cody Lashney, because he is really hype on the Panthers one. Not proven yet, but he believes they can be great with J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson. Tell us a little bit about that defense.
So we'll start with the corners. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, I think they are a really good duo. I don't think they're the best duo in the league, but they could definitely be up there in the next couple of years. Greg just needs a little bit more time to develop. Greedy Williams, he's kind of been a question mark, but we do have AJ Green and Martin Emerson that we drafted. I think those are some really good young players that, we need to keep around. AJ Green came in as an undrafted free agent, and he has just, wowed everybody. PFF hyped him up a little bit last season and the year before, and that's a really solid cornerback room. Then linebackers, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, stud, steal of the draft, and God knows why he fell. Some people said it was a scheme issue, but that was definitely one of the better picks in that draft. And Anthony Walker, he had 100 tackles, and just Sione Takitaki, Jacob Phillips, they're still kind of getting there. They're still developing due to some injuries, but they are really good, really solid. And then Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett. I don't think I really need to say much there. They are just a force to be reckoned with, and they are going to be that factor of this defense. Myles Garrett is a great leader. He goes out there and he produces. And this defense really needs that. And with our defensive tackles, we have a lot of young guys. Perion Winfrey, who I think can be really good, but he was just kind of a dud in the preseason. Jordan Elliott has shown flashes of being good. But then our safeties, Ronnie Harrison, John Johnson, Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit was coming off of an injury, a couple injuries actually, and he came out there and he did some work that was really needed. So we can, like I said earlier, we have a lot of versatility, and they are going to be a really important piece to this defense.
We have a very, very talented young defensive back core here in Carolina. J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson. We have some dudes. And I said on last night's show that we did, I feel that towards the middle of the season, people are going to be talking like the Panthers have one of the very best defensive backfields in all of the NFL. I genuinely believe that about my squad. My question to you is, let's say there's a scenario where the Panthers defense, we're able to really put up a good performance, but we're able to get out early and put up some points on y'all. Does Jacoby Brissett and those receivers that you have up there, are they going to be enough and have enough at their disposal to be able to come back from behind should the Panthers get up on them early? So basically, if they have to throw the ball on 2nd and long and 3rd and long, are they truly equipped enough to do that?
That's a good question. I think we have the volume. I don't necessarily want to say we have the talent, because we have Demetric Felton, who was originally drafted as a running back. He can move out to receiver. I think we could, run some wheel routes with him. We can do a lot with him. David Bell in the slot, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper. Then we have our 2 tight ends, and we just signed Jesse James. So I think we are just trying to overload this offense to give us options. And we don't need to make big plays. And if we are going from behind, I get it. I think that's going to be more of a handed off situation, and then see if you can just try to sneak something by and just kind of overwhelm your corners a little bit. But you guys are definitely right. You have the talent. JC Horn, great corner. And I think they're going to give the Browns some problems in some one-on-one matchups. So that's just why I think we're just going to try to see what we can do.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say this about Myles Garrett, that he plays 2-0 to 100 in the first half of games, and early in the season he gets worn out. Is there any truth to that?
It definitely shows, but I think he dials it in the third downs and the crucial points of drives. If he's a little lazy on a first or second down, I think I can usually get past that. But he knows how to shut down a drive. He knows how to dumb down the home crowd energy or away team energy, and give our defense back some energy. So yeah, I see it, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be a factor.
Well, we used to have, we had one of the greatest of all time do it in Carolina, and Julius Peppers, and Panther fans used to get mad at him. They said he was taking plays off, and it was not. He was just picking his spots, and you say, I'm saying sometimes you're setting up the next play. Those defensive ends are, playing chess in a certain way with those offensive tackles. I saw Kevin Stefanski say today that and a lot of the Browns media is saying that the Browns have a new offense. Why? What is new about this offense is that while you have Deshaun Watson, and maybe you're trying to institute those things for when Deshaun Watson comes, that is so far down the road. Really, what is new about this? Has this not been Stefanski's offense since he got there? And what does he want to do different? Why would you move away? Is the new offense going more back to what they did in 2020? What is this new offensive scheme or philosophy they want to adopt?
I definitely think it is going to be a more 2020 based offense. We have in practices, we've seen a lot of 2 running backs in the backfield. That was something that hasn't been done for a little bit. A lot of tight end screens, which is kind of unusual for Stefanski. So there is going to be some changes, and I think it was needed. 2021, I really don't know what was going on there. Like I said, maybe at some point they just figured we're done with Baker Mayfield. Let's see what we can do with a little bit different of an offense. But I think they're going to hone it in. They're going to take the chunk plays. They're going to take the yardage. They're not going to take anything for granted, overshoot anything that they don't need to. And with what you said, setting up for Deshaun Watson, I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of plays that say, yep, Deshaun Watson's going to thrive at that. I think it's Jacoby Brissett is going to thrive at that. I don't know what they have in store for Deshaun down the road, but right now, from what I'm seeing, it's, just a tampered offense, and maybe we could see some stuff explode. I've seen a couple of deep shots with Michael Woods, our rookie receiver. He's gone up against the sideline and tried to make a play. Donovan Peoples-Jones doing some sideline work. So I'm really not sure, but yep, right now it's tampered offense.
You're muted.
My bad. In your mind, do you have like a prediction, like an idea of how you think this game is going to go? Like, do you feel good about the Browns' ability to beat the Panthers? Because, again, you've been great. You've been awesome the whole time. Most Browns fans, man, they are adamant that even in spite of Jacoby Brissett, the whole Deshaun thing, they think that they've got a squad to be a legitimate contender by the time Deshaun comes back. Do you agree with that? Do you think that this team is built to roll? And how do you see this matchup with the Panthers? How do you see it going?
I think with the Panthers, it's going to be a closer game than Browns fans are making it out to be. I think, like I said, they're up on this revenge game type of thing. I don't know. I don't think they're going to come out and play this as a revenge game. I think they're going to say, we need to win this football game. But the Panthers are stacked. They have a nice offense. That defense can do some work. So I think it is going to be a closer game, maybe 24-28, something like that. I think it's going to be really close. And setting up down the line, I think this team could go somewhere. We have some issues with depth. I would like to add another number 2 receiver, a really solid number 2 receiver. And if one of them goes down, you have Donovan Peoples-Jones to fill in. And, he's been getting some work with Amari Cooper. So hopefully he can come out and really shine. And defensive tackle, we need our young guys to step up if we want to do anything. If we have any injury in the defensive line room to Jordan Elliott or Taven Bryant, I think that's going to be really, really detrimental. And I really do think we are set up for success. Barry and company has been planning for this. I think even back to John Dorsey, he was kind of setting this team up to go somewhere, and he did. So we are set up for a nice future this season, next couple years, and hopefully we can do some work.
Who's this game most important to? The Browns front office, Kevin Stefanski, or Baker Mayfield?
I gotta say Baker. I mean, you can't not root for him. He was kind of tossed to the side, and like I said, if he felt that they gave up on him towards the end of the season, I would want to go out and I would want to show up and destroy that defense. I would want to say, hey, look at what my new coach is giving me the freedom to do. Even Matt Rule said he's going to let him just kind of, build himself up and do his own thing out there. And if he does that, it's going to be scary for this Cleveland Browns front office because they know what they're going to have to take in the media following the game. That's going to be something that none of us want to think about. I've even joked, like, if we lose week 1, I might have to deactivate my account. That's going to be a big thing.
How does Cleveland react if Baker Mayfield does the metaphorical plant the flag in the middle of Cleveland's field, even though I know it's in Bank of America? How does Cleveland react? What does that say about the Cleveland's decision? Does it throw shade potentially? Do you think that it has any weight in bearing how you guys might revisit the acquisition of Deshaun Watson? I
think the Browns fans are going to turn on each other first. The people who support Baker Mayfield are going to say, Look what Baker did. Aren't you mad that we traded him? Look at what we did to give up this person. And that's going to be something I don't want to see for the next couple of weeks. I think that, again, this front office knows what's going to happen. They're just going to have to tell this team to move on, to maybe turn their phones off, just ignore it because everybody knows what's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. I don't want to watch First Take and see Browns fumbled this trade. And so, I think it's going to be an interesting couple weeks in Cleveland. And maybe the Browns come out against the Jets a little bit pissed off. They have toned it down and said, we're not looking at this game as revenge or anything like that. That may change going into week 2 and just having a chip on your shoulder. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I'll say this. I personally find it fascinating. Like if Baker comes out and let's just say he throws for 300 yards and has 4 touchdowns, right? Like if he has a crazy game, I think back of Baker Mayfield when he was at Oklahoma and he got in trouble for like metaphorically unzipping his junk and taking it out.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's got the bravado. I could already see now all the headlines if Baker Mayfield did something like that, if he does have that kind of performance. And I've got to say, like, ever since Baker Mayfield has been to the Carolina Panthers, we have gotten an influx of not only former Browns fans who thought that the Deshaun thing was a bridge too far, but we also got a lot of fans that were just like, nah, I love Baker. I think he got a raw deal. And I'm pulling for the Panthers as my NFC team now because they want Baker to do well. So it definitely, Baker definitely seems to be the guy that has a lasting impact on the fans, be it good or bad. He's someone that makes you feel excited about what he's doing with the team. So we're pumped about it, man.
I mean, yeah, he took us to the playoffs. That's definitely something that you can't forget. I watch that game all the time, every single chance that I get. I can't forget that game against the Steelers. And even though we almost choked it in the end, it was still a really good game. It made everybody happy. Just hearing Jim Donovan when we got into the wildcard game, he said, the Cleveland Browns have made the NFL playoffs, and the only thing that is missing is all of you, because it was during the pandemic. That I tear up every single time I hear that, and I just think of Baker Mayfield. So I think a lot of people will say that they regret that this trade happened if he goes out and beats us week 1.
Are there any injury concerns that the Browns are facing right now going in this game?
Grant Delpit went down with an injury. I believe it was a shoulder injury. I don't believe it's serious. Jack Conklin is rehabbing from his knee surgery that he had over the offseason, and he's still a toss-up for week 1, so we're not entirely sure what we're going to get out of him. And backup tackle Chris Hubbard is also dealing with an injury. So if he is out, we are going to be relying on James Hudson. I think he's a really solid second-year tackle. We shouldn't have many issues. But other than that, we seem to be healthy. We seem to be ready to go. And I'm excited to be potentially fully healthy for once.
All right, final question for me. Do the Browns make the playoffs this year?
No, I can't say that we do. I think the AFC North is too stacked, and the AFC alone is just nuts. So even if we win 10 games, that may not be enough. It happened a couple years ago. I think it was Baltimore who won about 10. They didn't make it. It's going to be unfortunate. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, fantastic stuff. You got any last word, parting shots, Cody?
Do you think it was coincidental that the city of Cleveland had like a massage therapy, like what's it called, like a convention, and it was like not even a block away from the stadium? Is someone intentionally playing a joke on y'all, or is the universe just hilarious?
It has to be hilarious. I didn't even know that was a thing. Why is that a thing? What do they do there? Why was that necessary?
I don't know. Maybe give you.
We know why Deshaun picked Cleveland.
He had to have known.
If you know what, we didn't know, but Deshaun did. He was like, I got this pinned in on my calendar. Oh, fantastic stuff. Noah Schaefer, the Dawg Check Podcast with the Believe Network. Tell them how they can follow you on social media and some of your work going forward as we get ready to prepare for this matchup Sunday.
Yep. My podcast is the Dawg Check Pod with Browns legend Eric Metcalf. You can find me over on Instagram at Brown Central and on Twitter at Brown Central _. Hopefully we'll get some interviews in that podcast, and we'll have a lot of exclusive content coming for you guys. So if you would like to tune in for a couple episodes, please do drop in, say hi, and we'd love to have you.
Thank you very much for your time tonight. That's Noah Schaefer, the Dawg Check Podcast with the Believe Network. Man, we appreciate it, man. You have a good one, and good luck, just not this week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Cody, we are counting down the days.
Yes,
I saw somebody say this is that who was it? Somebody said that they used the prize pick, the C3 code and prize pick, made the free square. I mean, look,
Alex,
I don't want to give them free advertising, but it's so fun.
Do it. I
it's
love
so
it.
Fun,
I think our
man.
fans
Like
love it too.
Gosh, Prize Pick right now, who's our sponsor for the season. In fact, the guy who made this kind of contacted me and started this relationship. He loved the segment that we did yesterday, and he liked how we're integrating, how we made the picks. So it's going to be fun. And right now it's a cool week to go and sign up for Prize Picks because they have a free play. Like you automatically get a win with that Tom Brady pick. If he throws 1 yard, as long as he plays, you get one of your picks right. So you go there, you go to Prize Picks, you use the C3 promo code. They match you 100% of your deposit bonus. And then you can go and make some plays. I turned 20 into 60 over this weekend by using my daily fantasy sports skills because it's a skill game according to the Supreme Court. That's why we get to play it, right? And I'm excited. We made some cool picks. And you know what? You're going to be making some picks on Friday, right?
Oh, yeah. So anybody who wants to come on to Friday Free For All, we'll go through some ones and see if your boy can make some cash, man. We'll do this. And hey, dude, it's fun. Like I said, not just because they're a sponsor, but like out of all the websites that you can use to do stuff like this is by far the most intuitive. It's so easy. I mean, the access to entry is nothing, man. Like you really don't risk a ton, and you have an opportunity to really, make it cash. I think it's incredible. Use code C3 at prizepicks.com. Yeah, man, I'm pumped.
And I think one of the things I want to, while we got the listeners up here, is it's kind of Friday Free For All versus the Tuesday show, because we have 2 separate accounts that we get to monitor our winnings with all season long. So I want to kind of see if the 4 Horsemen versus the Friday Free For All is their strength in numbers on that. And speaking of strength in numbers, big shout out to Just Don't Care, also a C3 super fan member with the $5 love bomb. Thank you for the support of the show. Last week I saw 10 Tizzy saying, "You gonna do any more flash hack giveaways?" You know it, man. We got some cool stuff coming about. I got some. We're gonna be rocking and rolling all season. And I saw Drew asking, "Are we gonna be doing the Madden simulations?" And CK and I, after the show last night, kind of stuck around and tried to troubleshoot some of the things we ran into last year to kind of streamline the workflow of this. And I think we got it. So, yeah, I think what we're going to do is have these as live simulations where we commentate and discuss and watch them, kind of like a live watch along where we commentate it. So you guys can be a part of that. I think I saw Panther Pickle say the new rosters drop on tomorrow. So we'll probably do this maybe Thursday or Friday. We'll squeeze it in and get this out for you for the weekend. So we got that, the Friday Free For All, and then on Sunday the post game show. Cody, next week too, I'm going to try to beat your tail in some debate my take too.
Well, you'll try. That's the key word there. But everyone knows you never do. But it's okay. We all love you anyway. But yeah, I'm interested to I have created a cult of Free For All. Okay, and on this Friday, you're gonna help me make the best picks possible. We're gonna make better picks on the Friday show than we do on the Tuesday show. And I'm telling you, man, for all my House of the Dragon viewers, I'm like Daemon Targaryen, and I got my gold cloaks with me. And we're out causing trouble, man. We're causing a ruckus. That's what we do, man. The Free For All is not just for anybody. It's only for those worthy enough to compete. You know what I'm saying? So join the Free For All, man.
Fantastic stuff, man. All right. So, Cody, I think that's good. We got a little bit of insight today. We did a lot of coverage last night. We got more coming throughout the week, Friday, Sunday. You guys stick around with us.
I tried to look this up. I didn't see anything yet, but Bobby Hicks said Myles Garrett might be out due to some family issues. I don't know if
Man,
that's real or not.
I'm hoping so. Actually, you know what? You know what? I'm not in some ways. I hope Baker goes out and then stomps them fools. You know, what's interesting is that while maybe this is all fans think that their team is going to win, but I really do not feel necessary. I don't feel that Cleveland has this supreme advantage over us. I think the Panthers are going to be playing motivated to win, and I think we really have a good chance of coming out there and curb stomping these mugs and making a statement, or at least really driving a stake through some of the hearts of those Cleveland fans that are so torn over the Deshaun Watson Baker Mayfield storyline. I'm ready for it. I think that we're playing with house money. Well, no one's playing with house money, particularly Matt Rule. But, I mean, look, is that we're going to go out there and get this done, man. I feel good about this, and I can't wait. I can't wait for Sunday, man.
I do too. I also hope he plays for Kim McQuanu's, for his sake, right? Like, I know that's a tall order for any rookie in their first NFL game, but imagine how good we would be feeling about our first round if a Kim McQuanu goes out there and has a fantastic performance against one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. I agree. I hope he plays. And listen, man, I've been towing this line. I do hope they have a good game, and I do think that they're capable of having that type of performance. I just need to see it, man. I'm not a Baker bottom until I see that. Well, that it needs to happen, frankly. So I'm hoping it happens, man.
One step closer on Sunday, I hope. All right, man. That's the beat check this week. Thanks to Noah Schaefer, the Dawg Check Podcast with Believe Network. We went on Charlotte Vibes channel just before this and gave our little 2 cents about heading into the season and some of the storylines. Go help our friend Chris Jenkins get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, the man of the people. He's there for us. And you know what? We're here not for you guys, but because of you guys, right? This show is like we are the same. We're all in the car heading to the game on Sunday, and we'll be riding back from the game Sunday. Make sure you call into the show. Remember, we're really trying to move to a 1 call per number thing this year because of how big our post-game shows got and how much support we get. We want to make sure we get through all the calls. We want to make sure that people's opinions don't get drowned out. And we want to make sure that we have a lot of fun. So make sure you bring your A game when you call in at 252-228-5098. I went ahead and set up the Patreon. I'm going to set up the new Google Voice number. What we're going to do is I think we're going to launch that in week 2 when we get everybody on the post-game show to really explain what this new Patreon package will do. And really what it is not going to change anything but just give patrons a way to get their calls expedited. And they get some discounts on merchandise on our website. So look, the show is not going to change other than I want you guys to plan your calls a little bit more. And so, don't waste it. Go ahead and get it. Remember, you got to win. You got to be caller of the day. And we'll do some cool stuff like that. We'll give away stuff for caller of the day. In fact, I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to give away a prize for the best call of week 1. Don't forget, we've got our Towel of Shame picks. We've got our Dab on them picks where we pick the player of the game. And Cody, where do they need to be at on Friday night?
Oh, you need to be at the Friday free-for-all, baby. Every Friday at 7 p.m., your opportunity to join the show. C3 is for the fans, by the fans. Want to let me know what you think of this matchup. It's going to be fun. We're going to be breaking down this Browns match. And we're going to be doing prize picks. We're going to see, if your boy can make some good cash, picking some good picks on these entries on prize picks. So you're going to be able to participate in that. Come through, man. It ought to be a blast. Great time. And, yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm so ready for football.
My name's Tony Dunn. Follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Check out CarolinaCatChronicles.com, the C3 Panthers podcast, longest running. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And make sure you're here on Friday and on Sunday because it's going to be lit. Cody Lashney, how can they get after you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. And hit me up. And by the way, man, be on those calls. Be in the time limit. Hit your point. Be good. Be fast. And we're gonna give away a prize for the best call. So
yeah, we might be doing that each and every week. That would be a cool addition to the post game show. I'm gonna start kind of think about that. We'll have some vote. We'll have some ways to measure that. Cody Lack, let's get on out of here, man.
All right, Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.
Today, we discuss Miro. Today, I want to talk about the hellscape that is technical diagramming, right? Everybody's nodding their heads right now, And there is a potential solution that I want to share. There was one name that several people brought up. I did some digging, and it's kind of nuts how much this program Miro has for developers. I have to share this. It could potentially be a game changer for you. So my favorite part about Miro is that half the work is already done. Like right now, typically we spend hours starting diagrams from scratch, gathering information. You get buy-in from every team. That's a lot of work to do. But Miro has a full set of integrations with the tools you're probably already using. And they also offer open APIs and SDKs for custom solutions for all those niche diagramming use cases we have to do, right? So the end result is the same, but it doesn't take forever. It's a massive, massive time saver. I'm transforming basic flowcharts and network architectures, and it all lives in one place. So are you using Miro? Have you used it? I want to hear. That's MIRO.com.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.